You wake as a contraction tightens across your belly so violently that even the wind outside the cave suddenly disappears. In the darkness, you understand the baby is coming, but nobody knows how many painful hours this birth may still require. You have no painkillers, no doctor, no operating room, and no certain promise that either of you will survive tonight. What frightens you most is not the pain itself, but the feeling that your body is slipping beyond your control. You try to sit upright, clutching your belly before another contraction forces your entire body to fold painfully forward. You call for the older women because from this moment onward, your fear can no longer remain hidden from anyone. The oldest woman places one hand on your belly, studies your face, then quietly wakes everyone gathered around the fire. Nobody asks whether you are afraid because your trembling hands have already answered far more clearly than spoken words alone. They spread animal hides near the fire, remove sharp stones, block the wind, and prepare the cave's most sheltered corner. Archaeology cannot reveal exactly how prehistoric births were managed, so this scene remains only a careful and historically plausible reconstruction. You receive water in tiny sips while another person keeps the small fire steadily burning throughout the long, cold darkness. One woman rubs your back, another supports your shoulders while the experienced elder watches the timing between every painful contraction. They have no machines, only your breathing, groans, sweat, shifting facial expressions and movements growing increasingly unusual, strained, and urgent. Their knowledge comes from no written book but from memories of births ending in survival and others ending in tragedy. Behind their calm expressions lives the fear of remembering mothers who once entered labor but never walked outside the cave again. You rest your forehead against another woman's shoulder, breathing smoke, sweat, and animal hide mingling heavily in the air. Whenever the pain retreats briefly, you think about the baby, then fear you may not have enough strength to meet it. You worry that if you die, your older child will lose the person who holds them through familiar freezing nights. You also fear the group will lose another person who gathers food, tends fire, and watches over other vulnerable children. In a world of constant scarcity, one difficult birth affects not only a mother but the survival of everyone around her. That pressure feels even heavier than the pain, although nobody beside you dares to speak the fear aloud. Someone grips your hand tightly, offering no false promise that everything will be fine, only reminding you that you are not alone. Amid pain, you cannot control that simple truth becomes the only thing helping you continue breathing through each painful wave. You begin to understand that strength is not silent endurance, but allowing other people to support you when you need them most. That message still matters today when women are judged for screaming, feeling afraid, or needing urgent medical support. No mother fails because her body needs more time, modern medicine, or another pair of hands to save her life. Time moves so slowly that every contraction feels like a separate night, while dawn seems determined never to arrive at all. You kneel, stand supported, squat, then change positions again as your back burns and your legs begin trembling beneath you. Upright positions may support labor, but we cannot claim every prehistoric woman gave birth in exactly this specific way. You simply follow your body's urgent signals because instinct sometimes arrives before knowledge can give it any formal name. When another contraction rises, you dig your fingers into a nearby arm until your nails leave deep, visible red marks. Nobody blames you for screaming because that sound is not weakness,
the ancestors
but your
watch
body's
over you.
instinctive response
It is
to
almost
immediate mortal
time.
danger. You become nauseated, thirsty, and dizzy, wanting only to collapse into sleep during the brief pauses separating each painful contraction. The elder gently touches your cheek, makes you drink more water, and urges you to keep your exhausted eyes open. She understands that exhaustion makes birth more dangerous, although she knows none of the specialized language used by modern medicine. The baby must travel through a narrow, complex birth canal, often turning the head and shoulders gradually to pass through. You cannot see those hidden movements, only feel the pressure deep inside your body becoming steadily more intense and unbearable. Whenever you push too early, the woman beside you tells you to wait patiently for the strongest contractions still ahead. This is not perfect medical technique, only hard-earned experience accumulated through many bodies that have endured the same pain before. You realize the history of childbirth has passed through whispered advice, lasting scars, and collective memories of devastating personal loss. When daylight reaches the cave entrance, the pain no longer pauses but rolls continuously through you like waves against stone. The elder quietly says the baby's head is descending, yet her voice can no longer preserve its earlier reassuring calm. You push with each contraction, your whole body tightening, but the baby advances only another very small distance. Panic rises as you begin believing your body is failing at something people describe as both natural and inevitable. But childbirth is not a moral test, and dangerous complications have never been caused by any failure of the mother. You are not weak for hurting, inadequate for feeling fear, or a failure because you desperately need immediate rescue. Inside this cave, nobody can perform a cesarean, transfuse blood, monitor the baby's heartbeat, or provide life-saving modern antibiotics. A trapped baby, sudden bleeding, or serious infection can suddenly transform a moment of hope into devastating grief within hours. We cannot know exact prehistoric maternal death rates, but the danger was almost certainly far greater than it is today. The elder examines you carefully, then tells you to change position and lean your exhausted body far forward. This detail is a cautious reconstruction, not direct evidence of one specific ancient birthing technique practiced during remote prehistory. Everyone around you falls completely silent, and that terrible silence makes your fear feel heavier than the pain itself. A violent contraction arrives, folding your body forward and forcing you to push with every last reserve of strength remaining. Your flesh feels as if burning, your breath breaks apart, and your body seems to be splitting completely in two. The woman in front suddenly shouts that the baby's head is visible, but both shoulders still remain dangerously trapped inside. In that instant, everyone understands that you and your baby are standing dangerously close to the final boundary between life and death. You no longer have the strength to look down, hearing only short instructions rising above the crackling fire nearby. They help adjust your body, steady your trembling legs, and wait tensely for the next contraction to arrive. Nobody understands modern anatomy, but they already know panic can break your breathing rhythm when you need it most. One woman leans close, tells you to meet her eyes and never release the hand holding yours with unwavering strength. You breathe deeply, push once more, and suddenly feel a heavy weight slide fully free from your body. In that moment, every sound disappears because the newborn lies motionless and has not yet made a single cry. The elder wipes the baby's mouth and nose, then rubs the small body with the cleanest material available nearby. This detail remains reconstructed, but it reflects an instinctive effort to awaken a newborn still struggling desperately to respond. You stare at the motionless little face, and for the first time completely forget the searing pain inside your body. Then a thin, hoarse, sudden cry cuts through the cave, and everyone around you finally exhales together in deep relief. You begin crying, not because the pain has ended, but because you finally know the baby is truly alive. Yet the birth is not finished, because the placenta must still pass, and uncontrolled bleeding can still kill you. The elder does not celebrate immediately. She keeps carefully watching the blood, your complexion, and every increasingly weakened breath. You hold the baby against your chest, feeling warm skin, fragile breathing, and tiny movements beneath your shaking hands. Close contact helps preserve a newborn's warmth. Although prehistoric childcare practices can only be cautiously inferred from available indirect evidence, when the placenta finally passes, you lie completely still, too exhausted even to lift your aching head from the hides. They cover you with hides, offer water and soft food, while others keep the fire burning throughout the dark night. Without antibiotics, a small tear or postpartum infection could still become a death sentence during the days immediately following childbirth. During the following days, you remain vulnerable because your exhausted body needs time, nourishment, rest, and protection to recover completely. You depend on the group to bring food, maintain the fire, guard the cave, and care for your older children. The survival of mother and baby is decided not only during birth, but throughout the difficult days afterward. Watching you hold the newborn, everyone understands that childbirth has never been merely one simple, beautiful, and joyful moment. It is pain, lost control, fear, sacrifice, and courage that countless human stories have too often treated far too lightly. You survive not because you feel no fear, but because you continue when your entire body desperately wants to stop. And whether inside a cave or hospital, every mother truly deserves to be heard, respected, protected, understood, and fully supported.